Welcome to the second ever episode of the Literary Fireside Chat. My name is Joseph Weber, and on this episode, we are going to look at a collection that I started writing many years ago, or at least 2 years ago, titled Ablaze. This is a collection of short stories and poems dedicated for the ignited mind. It's in dedication to two individuals, my father, Rick Weber, and my confirmation sponsor and famous contemporary Christian composer, Ben Walther. For now, I'm going to explain the table of contents that will be used. They are a given task, Laocoon's redemption, Ablaze, the trial of Anacras, the Carpenter priest, the Flask of Tir, the Fireborn Blade, and a Task Unwavering. This will be a X amount of parts for each of the stories, and I'm going to do my best to give my thought process when the collection comes out, or prior to, so that when the collection comes out, you might have a better understanding of what I was referring to. A Given Task by Joseph Weber. On a hill I pondered, selected by loved ones, for a task of worth and difference, a task to know my past, a task to test the will engulfing the forest surrounding, the ordeal for the highest minds. Serve till you can't bear it on your shoulders. Serve from night unto day. Be the one whose call the forest home. Will you see it? The dream that beckons you. The dream that believes in you. It is only right. Ablaze by Joseph Weber. Part 1. A Broken World. For thousands of millennia, the flame was the symbol of warmth and light, forging paths of peace and war. Prometheus gave it to us, mankind. Moses forged a promise to God in a bush that was never charred. Joan of Arc was reunited with Christ amidst the flame, and Catherine of Siena spoke of self-worth being made of fires. We used to rely on BCs and ADs, BCEs and CEs, but that was then, and this is the eras of the flame wick and afterflame. Why, you might ask? Because a pyromaniac in the recent government proposed it, and the motion passed. This fiery utopia this government official brought mid-campaign led to him becoming the 113th president of the United States. His name was Valio Lin, brother to Caius Lin, nephew to an immigrant named Kyoro Young-sen, and supporter of the Kadaj prior to their breakout. Resistances were often held secretly, but this resistance was made public and was considered his bodyguard crew. He would have his way in an instant. After the 113th President of the United States redeclared war on the Russians in the year 13 Flamewick, tyranny from the states began to rise, leading to a civil war which haven't happened since 1314 Flamewick. Ohio was among the 13 fallen states. Senators and other officials from the 13 states led a coup funded by the CIA on the president. It was a reawakening, an epiphany, in the era of preparing for a final nuclear war that people would call the Great Scare of Flames. A new war for independence had begun in the Midwest. and it was daunting. Media channels in the state of Ohio and the other states called the rebels a psychological turmoil and imperfect. The rebels viewed it as a call to fame. A secular conference located in Cincinnati was briefly interrupted by 7,000 individuals announcing a feudal system and saying that there is a perfect way, and that is the Kadaj way. The Kadaj killed 10,000 that night on May 21st, 13 after flame. The following morning, a teenager named Simon Valentine watched the television viewing footage of the Cincinnati Scourge. Of the 7,000 insurgents, only a third were arrested, spoke a news anchor. Killing is not the perfect way. I feel history's being made again, spoke witnesses and several news anchors. Simon then turned the TV off. The TV wound its cry down. As he was finishing his breakfast of oatmeal and toast, his doorbell rang. There was a man in black garb. "Ah, you must be Simon Valentine," said the stranger knowingly. "Yes, and you are?" inquired Simon. "Edmund Frollo. I heard that you needed spiritual guidance. Our local bishop approved your request and has appointed me to help you in any way spiritually." Simon then asked the priest, "Whereabouts are you from?" Edmund replied, "Youngstown. And you?" "North Canton." They went on speaking of the theocratical philosophies of the afterlife, especially the final cup and Edmund's theory of a children's prayer, the Hail Mary. The Hail Mary is a peaceful prayer, especially at the point of death. Father Edmund Frollo was well taught as a Jesuit. Born as the middle child of 7, he was a devout Catholic, attending the Cathedral of St. Columba, the home of the Diocese of Youngstown. "What was your favorite memory there?" asked Simon. "Well, at the daily sermon," replied Father Edmund, "the bishop would tie in the readings to a saint he knew very well." "Which saint was your favorite?" "It was on May 15th, many years ago, that the bishop told us about a martyr named Halvard, how he defended a pregnant woman from 3 men who accused her of theft. Halvard is the patron saint of Oslo, Norway." Edmund's eyes pondered even further when he saw the latest headline. Kadaj members raid the cathedrals of St. John the Evangelist and Our Lady, Queen of the Most Holy Rosary. 30 parishioners killed. Edmund simply said, "Eternal rest be upon them." The idea of a fallen state shook Simon to his core. The belief of killing people due to prejudice riddles the foundations of this united nation. Everyone was always taught that when we're united, we stand, and if divided, we fall. Edmund then asked, "You all right?" Simon sheepishly replied, "Yeah. You seem distraught. Is everything okay?" "If it's not too late for confession, I have one to make." "That's fine by me. I need guidance for what I'll say next." "How so?" inquired Father Edmund. Those words echoed in Simon's head like bells ringing a deadly note. It was at that moment, then, Simon heard his father, who was a middle school teacher at St. Paul Catholic School, speak before they departed for a Catholic convention about dying the world's servant, but God's first. His sister and older brother, who were about 23, gave him a hug and then said, "Don't be afraid, little brother." Then they departed their abode at 315 10th Street, heading for the convention. It was only a week later that WSPS News gave a brief announcement for the funeral for the family members. It was on October 25th, 12 after flame, that the funeral took place. He lost his father, mother, and his elder twins. The family photo that stood on the table now felt tampered with. Only scratches appeared on their faces. "My family was murdered years ago on the way to West Virginia for a convention. I believe the killers were members of the Kadaj." "Eternal rest be upon your family as well." "I want to have inner peace, Father. Is there anything I can do to stop this rage inside me?" Then Father Edmund said, "Be who God meant you to be, and you will set the world ablaze." Simon was confused. "What?" "Be who God meant you to be, and you will set the world ablaze. It was a famous quote from the Virgin and Doctor of the Church, St. Catherine of Siena. It was a popular quote from her. Let's set this world on fire and raise the banner of Christ higher than the Kadaj. If it were me, I would set it ablaze. Simon's thoughts echoed in his head. Set the world ablaze? By becoming who God meant me to be? If anything, this session is starting to make me take my revenge to life. Spread the word to those who have lost family and friends. Soon, with the help from Father Edmund, flyers spread through the streets and cities. Soon, thousands of those who lost family and friends came to an abandoned factory on Main Street. With help from a local high school, the rally was televised. This was no recovery group. This would be a family united. This would be the light of Christ the martyr, or as the States will know it, Lux Christi Martyris. Therefore, do not be afraid of them. Nothing is concealed that will not be revealed, nor secret that will not be known. What I say to you in the darkness, speak in the light. What you hear whispered, proclaim on the housetops. And do not be afraid of those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in Gehenna. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a small coin? Yet not one of them falls to the ground without the Father's knowledge. Even all the hairs on your head are counted, so do not be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. Everyone who acknowledges me before others, I will acknowledge before my heavenly Father. But whoever denies me before others, I will deny before my heavenly Father. Matthew 10:26-33.